You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
DIY home surgery, 132410. Get involved. These stories are often gruesome, but if you can't get to the doctor in time, or maybe you haven't got money to go to the doctor, or if it's an emergency and you've got to operate, you step in and do it yourself. Maybe you just can't be bothered. Maybe you're one of those people that go, you know what? I'll just stitch it up. I've got a needle. I've got a thread. I don't need a doctor.
Anybody remember mercurochrome?
Yeah.
What was that again?
You put it on your toes and stuff.
So that dries up. Dried up your scabs really quickly. So remember when you would take skin off? You take skin off, and it was the colour of blood. And Dad would just douse the...
Yeah, it stained your skin.
Yes, Dad would just douse your like
the wound,
just with mercurochrome, and then it would scab up really quickly.
But remember, the other one was Dettol, where you'd pour it into water, it'd go a little bit milky, and then you'd dab it on there as an antiseptic.
I reckon the old
smell of Dettol just reminds me of every injury I've ever had.
The Vicks Vapor Rub on your chest is horrible as well. How can
it's good.
I love it.
How can you get to sleep when you've got that greasy liquid on your chest?
Oh no, the kids love it.
Yes.
If there's a cold, we're Vixing hard all over. You never put it on your top lip.
Never put it anywhere on your face. It's supposed to be your chest, and it's an old wives' tale.
in your nose.
On the base of your feet.
Yes, you do.
And you put socks on, but they don't recommend it.
You don't put it in your nose, mate.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
It'll burn you.
No, it doesn't.
You stick it in your nose, do you, Macca?
How can...
Oh, my God.
How can you put it on your chest, but not on your nose?
Have you ever accidentally got it in your
No, you're
eyes?
thinking of deep heat.
No, we're thinking of Vicks.
Yeah.
Vicks Vapor Rub.
No, you can put it on your nose.
Maybe there's a special nose one, but the chest one, you no way.
No, there's no special nose one.
Oh, I've used the one.
Well, the product they would have developed.
I know what you mean. I use the one where you put the actual
applicator up your nose.
That sounds terrible. The applicator says.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is not what you were using.
Let's move on. This guy here, he doesn't need to go to the doctor, and he certainly won't go to the dentist. He pulls out his own teeth. This guy, Dave Sargent, he's 50 years old. He says, it's too hard to get into the dentist, and I can't afford it. So every time I've got a toothache or one starts to get wobbly, this is what he does. He sits down on the couch. And this is not medical recommendation. I advise, as a respectable broadcaster, do not do this. Tom, can I go ahead with what I'm saying?
Yeah, you've given the appropriate disclaimer.
Do not do this.
Okay, that's fine. That's all we needed.
He'll have 10 beers and take a whole lot of ibuprofen. Then he'll get a pair of pliers, attach it to the tooth, and wobble until he feels like the time is right. Sometimes, you're right, Fitz, the tooth will break up with the pliers.
You'd rather chop your own little finger off. I reckon that'd be easier, because you can do it all at once really quickly.
Yeah, you can.
This would be a long process.
It is. It'll take up to an hour as he wobbles the tooth. He knows that it's rotten. It's got to come out. The rotten parts are breaking off, and then he removes the tooth.
The sensation.
He then says, I fall asleep. It bleeds throughout the night. I wake up, and then I will have some more alcohol to make sure that there's no bugs and there's no infection.
He'll end up going back to the dentist anyway.
Yeah.
Costing him more money. Sarah's given us a call from Manly. DIY home surgeries here.
Hey, Fitzy and Wippa, thanks for having me on. So my husband's brother was in the cross one night, and he sat on a car racing game, the Daytona car racing game, but he didn't realise there was a schooner glass there already. So he sat on it and cut his butt open, and so got taken back home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and his dad laid him on the kitchen table, made all the brothers watch and say, this is what happens when you drink alcohol, and stitched them up on the dinner table.
Did she pour a bit of vodka in or something just to sanitize it?
No, just in the art, stitching it up just to teach him a lesson.
Oh, imagine when your dad came out with a needle and thread and said, everybody gather round, watch this. This is why we don't play Daytona. Go for Buck Hunter.
That's it.
One of the he's a
God,
great guy,
Sam.
and he's still a doctor. I think he's still a doctor for New South Wales now. But Nathan Gibbs, he was the Sydney Swans doctor.
Gibbsy.
And he lived up at Coogee, and he would say to the boys, if anyone gets into trouble, don't go to the club, just come to me. And Jason Mooney, we were drinking one night, and there was two guys down at Coogee Beach with paddle boards. And as they walked past, Moon had a few too many drink, and he had a go at these two guys.
Great idea.
These guys had to go back. They walked off over into the distance there, and we just kept partying. And then we looked around, and Moon was gone. And he'd run over chasing these guys. Didn't know where he's gone. Anyway, these guys just went to his head with these paddle boards. He came back, and you could see his skull.
Oh, my God.
Like, it was full on. So we packed him up straight away, and we rang someone, said, can you come and pick us up? Took him up to Gibbsy's, and this is amazing. In Gibbsy's backyard, he's just got, Moons was just sitting on a seat, and Gibbsy's kids were just playing all around him, and there's just Gibbsy just sewing up his head.
Getting his head cleaned up.
And the kids, it was like they'd seen it before. They were like, oh,
That was us.
Dad's
Dad.
working.
As kids, every Saturday night, people who didn't want to go to emergency after their children had been injured at rugby would knock on the front door, and Dad would get us to sit sometimes on them because he didn't have a... And while he'd stitch them up, and so you'd sit on their shoulders and things to hold them still.
Oh, my God.
Amazing.
Says you loved a front row. We know that much.
Okay, I mean, like I was 6, but that's okay. You
That
pissed?
changes things a little bit. 13 24 10 if you've got a story of DIY home surgery.
Lisa in Campbelltown. What happened, Lise?
I was about 13 at the time, and I was cleaning the gutter out the front of my place, had gumboots on, felt a sharp pain, and noticed this massive, big, rusted nail in the side of my toe. So, hobbled inside. My dad gave me a bit of wood to bite on and pulled it out with pliers.
What did you do to the hole afterwards?
Mum strapped it up with a bit of a bandage, but I'm a nurse now, so I should have had a tetanus shot, I should have had antibiotics.
That's what I'm thinking.
Did you go get a tetanus shot? No.
No, I had nothing.
Wow.
Rather than go to the hospital, that's what my dad did, just said bite on this and wacky-dacky.
And no infection or anything, Lise?
No, I was pretty good, so I must have had a pretty good immune system.
Bite on this and wacky dacky.
Her nickname's Rusty now. She's known
Look at
as.
her go, the old nail.
Zach in Campbelltown. What was the home surgery?
Hey guys, same thing as old mate you had on about the teeth before.
Oh, yeah.
Got a botched up root canal by the doctors and ended up having to pull 2 teeth out.
What? How did you pull them out, Zach?
My old boy learned a trick with a tea towel when with old horses and stuff. So you just wrap the tea towel between your teeth and twist it until it snaps. Twist it until the root snaps.
Yep.
And then do the other way and then just give it a good yank.
Oh, so,
for both of the teeth.
Zach, what was your pain relief?
Nothing. I was honestly in so much pain. Like I had facial swelling from infection because of the botched canal. So I ended up doing that, and then honestly, like the pain that I felt from pulling the teeth out was nothing compared to beforehand.
So hang on a minute, Zach. So you get a tea towel, right? So you got the thin part of the edge of a tea towel.
Yeah. So you know the bar tea towels, the glass cleaners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just thread that between your teeth. That's a bit hard, but then you just wrap it around in a U shape, and then you just twist, and it gets tighter and tighter.
Yep.
Then it starts to each twist slowly moves like your tooth.
Right, and then it just crunches. Actually, that's the way to do it, and it would be you would be in so much pain that it would be a relief to actually feel that pain, and you know that it's coming out.
Oh, 100%. But so I spent a couple of grand getting the root canals, and it ended up going south, and then they were going to cost me a couple of grand to pull my teeth out. So I just did it myself.
Gee, I mean, if it works for the horse, if it's good enough for the horse, it's good enough for me. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. And then Zach went on to win race for it Randwick that Saturday.
Good on you, Zach. See you, buddy. Have a good weekend.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast.